So make sure you have your Binance client imported as well as your API key and API secret. If you're not sure how to get to this step, you can check out the video in the description below, which will explain how you can set all this up. And once again, you don't need this line of code. This is just me importing my API key and API secret from another file just so I don't show you guys. So before we get started in the actual coding, let's do some quick imports. So first we need to import the time, which allows us to keep track of how much time has passed in between each function call. And then once again, make sure you have your Binance import as well. And then we also need to import threading, which allows multiple things to be running at the same time. And after we have that, then we need to import decimal. And what decimal allows us to do is round to a very specific decimal so that when we give the number to the Binance exchange, it will trade exactly. So let's do this and round down. All right, so now we have all of our imports done. The first thing that we need to create is a class that allows us to actually get the price of our assets from the Binance exchange. So we can just do this by simply creating a class called price updater. And inside this class, we need to have an init function. So just call it like this. And this will just simply be what will actually be inside this class. And this crypto bots right here, I guess I can put this at the top as well. This will just be a dictionary with all of the different bots so that you can have multiple bots running at the same time, which I will explain later on how to exactly do that. But first, let's create this init function. So we need to call self.cryptobot is equal to the crypto bots. Cannot type. Crypto bots. And then self.running will be false. So at the beginning, this will just be false until we allow the function to start, then we can switch this to true. And then self.thread will be none in the beginning. So this will be what the init function looks like. And so let's first make the function that allows us to get the price from the Binance exchange. So we can simply call this get current price and self here. And we can simply call it by calling client.get all tickers. And this will get all the prices for all of the assets on the Binance exchange, and we'll be able to filter this out later. So this is all you need for the function that gets the price from the Binance exchange. And also, we are not using WebSockets on this specific code just because Python Anywhere, which is my recommended coding environment for trading bots, doesn't actually allow you to use WebSockets. And I recommend using Python Anywhere just because they have an always on task that allows your code to be running 24/7, which is super helpful for any trading bots. And if you're also interested in that, once again, you can check out the video in my description, which will explain all of that as well. So once you have this function, then we need to create another function that actually allows us to get the prices from Binance to all of our different bots. So once again, we can just call this update prices, and then we can do while self.running. So this will just be while this class is on, it will go through this loop. We can first get our current prices from the self.getCurrentPrice function. And then after we get our current prices for all the assets, we can create another for loop which goes through all the instances in the crypto bots dictionary. Like this, and then we can call instance.priceCheck, and we can give that the current price. So every crypto bot that we are going to create is going to have this price check function in it, which will actually filter out the exact asset that you're going to be trading for that crypto bot. And this right here will just basically allow us to get the price from Binance Exchange to that crypto bot. So after this, then we can just have time.sleep, and you can go for any amount of time really. It's all in seconds, so we can go 60 seconds or 1 minute. But typically for these types of trading bots, I usually like just going 5 seconds because I think trading 60 seconds is a bit too slow, especially for Martingale bots and other bots that don't really need the tickers themselves. So we can just create a time.sleep. It's 5. So this is just a very simple way of getting the price from the Binance Exchange to our different crypto bots. And before we go on, we need to make sure that we have a start and stop function for this class as well. So let's make a start function. So what this does is we can just make self.running equals true. And then we can create a thread. And what this allows is this code can continue to run even if other codes are running as well. So we can call the target is equal to self.update prices. So the update prices function will continue to count down even if other codes are running as well. So that's what's really good about threads. It allows your codes to run concurrently. And then after we've declared this target and the thread here, then all we need to do is self.thread.start. That will allow us to start the thread. So this will be what our start function looks like, and once again we need a stop function as well. So we just call this stop, and then we can just do self.running is equal to false, and then we could write self.thread. So if a thread does exist, then we also need to stop that thread as well, and we can do that simply by just typing self.thread.join. So what join does is it joins the thread that is currently running to the rest of your code. So after that, this is our function here like this. Alright, so after you have all that coded out, then we can simply check this code by just running it really quickly. So we can just call this price updater. So what this does is just that it creates an instance of the class which allows us to run it. And make sure you give it the CryptoBots parameter so that it knows to take in the dictionary. And then we can simply call price updater dot start. And then we can just create a quick time.sleep of, let's just say 5 seconds, and then price updater dot stop. So we can just simply check our code like this. I'm going to just shorten this to 1 second for now so that we can see all the different prices that it gets. And we can simply check that by just printing the current price that we're getting from Binance. So if we run this code, then it should, there you go. It's printing out all the prices from the Binance Exchange, which means that all this code is working, and then it stops after 5 seconds. So after we have all this coded out, then we're good to move on to the actual portion of the Martingale strategy code. Alright, so once again, we need to create another class. We can just call this the MARTBot for short. And once again, we need the init function. And then self, we need to give it a key and variables. So really quickly, let's go over what kind of variables that we're going to be needing to give it to our Martingale bot, which will give us a better understanding of how we should go about coding this. So let's just write this down here. So for this part of the code, we can give it let's just create another dictionary, and we can call this the bots dictionary. And then, so first thing that we need to give it is a key. So what do we want to call this bot? So we can just say, let's just call it Martingale. So let's just call it Martingale bot 1. So that will be the key, and then the items in the dictionary or the variables that we're going to be giving to the specific bot. So the first thing that we need to give it is what type of asset we're going to be trading with it. So for this example, we can just use Ethereum and a USDT pair. So that should be the first thing. And then secondly, we also need to create something that will determine how often we should be placing our trades. So this will just determine how much the price of the Ethereum and USDT pair has to change before we place another order. So let's just call this 0.5% for now. You can change this to whatever percentage you want, but let's just do 0.5 for now. And then another thing that we have to make sure that we give it is how much profit should we have before we sell all of our assets. So because your scale here is quite small, then you also want your profits to also be small so that it will be more focused on making a lot of trades rather than making one big trade. So we can just say 0.3% profit before selling all of our trades. And then finally is how much money that we should give this bot. So let's just say we can give it $100 to start with. And then the next one is going to be, what should our volume scale be? So volume scale is, let's say you first buy at $1, right? So if your volume scale is 2x, that means you would buy $2 next, and then $4 and then $8. However, that's not super good for trading just because it uses all of your capital up very, very quickly. So we probably want to go for a smaller number, so we could try 1.5 for now. And once again, all this just used as an example. Make sure you backtest all of these parameters by yourself, just determine which one works best for you. And the final parameter that we should give it is how many orders that it should place. So for this, we can just say 10 orders. So this bot will buy 10 times and uses up all the money that we give it for the martingale strategy. And after it buys 10 times, then the bot will stop buying. So after we have all of this, then we can go on and code what will actually be in the martingale bot. First things first, we need to make sure we have the key for the bot. So this will basically just be the name of the bot. And then we can also create a total profit, just so we can keep track of how much our bot has made. So we can initialize that to 0. And we can also create a self.transactions, which will just keep track of how many sells and buys that it has made. And then we need to first create a sell price. So we can set that as none for now, but later the bot will calculate how much it should sell at on its own. And then this is where our variables come in. So the symbol that we're going to be trading is the first variable in here. So this right here will be given to the bot. So this will be the key of the bot, and this right here will be the variables inside of it. So you can see here it's actually a list. So all we need is the first index of the list, which is 0. And this will be the Ethereum and US Tether pair. And then after that, we need profit. So we can simply do self.profit. And this will be how much the price has to rise before our bot sells all of the orders. And we can just make this into a floating point number. So this will be this right here, which is our second index, third variable. So that will be the profit. And then our scale should be self.scale. So this will be how much the price will change by before we place another buy order. So this will be our first index or second variable, which is right here. And then after we have that all coded up, then we need self.volume list. So this will just be how much it should buy for every single buy order, put simply. So first we need to do self.volume is equal to float of variables so the volume will be this variable right here, which will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, the fourth index. And then self.orders will be how many we will buy before it won't buy anymore. So this will be our very last variable right here. So this will be fifth index. And then self.use, or how much money that we're going to be giving the bot, will be this variable right here. In this case is 100. So it would be like that. And then after that, we need to calculate how much that we're going to be able to buy per order to actually create this scale of 1.5. So the easiest way to do this is actually using a geometric sum. So I'll just be going over very quickly how you could actually code this out in Python. So we need to create a series sum variable, and then we need to do 1 minus self.volume to the power of self.orders, like this. And then we need to divide that by 1 minus self.volume. So that will be the sum of the series, and then x will be self.use with self.total profit divided by series sum. So what this code actually allows us to do is that we can take the amount that we've made in the past and then also add it to this $100 right here. So let's say you made $10 profit on the first trade, then that means the second round that the bot goes through will be $110 instead of $100. So this is actually really helpful so that you don't have to constantly take out money and put money back into the bot, and that process will just be automated by the bot. Also, to even add more customization to your code, you can actually change it so that your scale changes on every buy order. So instead of buying in between every single time that the price drops by 0.5%, you can buy when it drops by 0.5 and then 1% and then 1.5%. So we can change that very quickly. So let's say you want to buy at 0.5 and then 0.6, 0.7, 0.8, 0.9, and then 1%. And then so this will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 orders. So let's get rid of all the spaces here. So because we have 6 orders here, then we can change this to 6 as well, because we need these two numbers to match. But basically you can change this to however you want. It is all up to you. You can customize it any way that you want to. So which is what's so awesome about coding out the bot yourself. So after we have that, then we do have to change our scale here slightly. So first we can create something called a string scale. So this will just be our scale, but we're gonna just separate it into the specific numbers, which we can do simply by splitting it by the commas. And then afterwards, we can change this self scale instead to a list instead of just one variable. So we can use this by doing list comprehension. So we can flow every index for index in string scale. Once again, if you're slightly confused, don't worry about it. All this code will be in the description below. So there you go. That's all we need for that. And then it's gonna we come down to our code here. Then we could do for I in the range of self.orders. We could do self.volume list dot append x times self dot volume to the power of I. So this is just a very simple way to calculate the geometric sum of the series, and then using that number to actually determine how much crypto that we need to buy per round. So now that that's done, a few more things that we need to make sure that we're doing is self.price bot. So we need to keep track of all the buy orders that we have made, as well as the amount that we have bought at those specific orders. And we need to also keep track of how many orders that we have bought. So we can call that 0 for now. And then that will be all of your init function. I know it's kind of long, but really we do need a lot of these parameters and codes. So after that, let's just first create our very simple price check definition. So let's first create our price check function, which once again is right here, where we need this function to be able to access our bot from this update price updater class here. So we can just call this price check again self, and we need to give it the tickers that it has. So then we could do for ticker in all of the tickers. So once again, remember that we're getting all of the assets and all of their prices from the mining exchange. So now we have to filter it out by the symbol that we're actually trading with. So we could just call this simply simple check is equal to ticker and grab all the symbols specifically. Oops. And then if the symbol check is equivalent to the symbol that we are trading, then we can continue and say that the new price will be the floating point number of the price of the symbol from a Binance exchange. So every single time this price check function is called, then it will get the prices from Binance and filter it out and then create a new variable called new price, which we can then use to determine what the current price of the asset that we're actually trading is. So then after we have this, then we should call our main function, which then actually allows us to determine what we need to do with this new information. So now let's move on to how we can code out the main function, or how we can implement the martingale strategy into this trading bot. So let's call this main self and new price here. So then the first thing that we want to do is that if we haven't bought any, so that means this bot just currently started, or it just sold and sold out all of its bot. So if this equals 0, then we just need to place a buy order. And this right here will be a separate function that actually places the buys and sells, but I will cover that later after we get the actual functionality of the martingale strategy implemented. So then if we already have bought orders, then we need to check whether we need to buy more or sell more depending on the price. So after this, we can create else if self.bot is greater than or equal to 1, and we have to check that the bot orders are less than the self.orders limit that we gave the bot. And we also need to check whether the new price has crossed the threshold for us to place a buy order or a sell order. So then if we check and that the new price is less than self.price bot -1 times 1 minus self.scale self bot. divided by 100. So what this allows us to do is that it gets the very last order that we placed right here, and then it multiplies it by 1 minus the string scale, or minus the scale of that specific buy order, to determine the exact price that the next buy order should be at. So then after we have this code, and if we check that all these parameters are true, then we can place another buy order. So this will just be the same as the code up there. However, if the price is actually above the threshold, then we want to place a sell order. So you can make sure once again that we have more than 0 buy orders, and we also need to make sure that the new price is above the self.sell price, which we also need to calculate. So if all of those are true once again, then we can create a self.sell order of the new price. And if none of these parameters are true, which means that either we have reached the limit of our buy orders, or that the price is not below a threshold or above a threshold, then we can just pass and not have to do anything. So this would just be a simple implementation of the martingale trading strategy. So then after we have all of this in place, then we need to make sure that we actually create the buy and sell order functions. So after we have all of this, then let's create a buy order. I cannot type. Buy order of self. And to create this buy order, once again, I actually went over this in my last episode where I showed you guys how to create a buy order, but I'll do it once again here. So buy order is equal to client.order. So with this strategy, we're just going to be using market buy orders. And the symbol that we're going to be trading once again will be already in the self.symbol parameter, so we can just set it equal to that. And then the quantity is where it kind of gets a little bit confusing. So the quantity that we want to buy at, for the quantity, we want to make sure that we are calculating the right amount to buy. So this will be self.volume list and the self.bot. So how many that we have currently bought divided by the new price, which will calculate how much Ethereum that we need to buy with US Tether. So if we give this bot 100 US Tether, then this will calculate the exact amount that we need to buy in terms of Ethereum. So then after we have that, then we need to make sure that we quantize this to a decimal. Oh, so 1 second. I forgot that we have to make this a decimal first as well. So this will create like the exact number that will allow us to actually buy and sell this. Oh, oops. Like that. And we need to quantize this to 0.0001, which is the smallest amount that the Binance Exchange will accept when you're placing a buy or sell order, or any order for that matter. And we need to make sure that we are rounding down, because if we round up, then our account might not have enough. So we have all of this set like this. So this will be all the quantity for our buy order. So that will be our buy order done. However, we do need to make some calculations after the buy order as well. So really quickly, we need to make sure that we add this price that we bought it at to the self.price bot, like that. And then we also need to make sure that the amount bot is also added. So the amount that we buy will just be the quantity amount. So we can literally just copy and paste this into here like this. Oh, I have to append this. Sorry guys. Yep, like that. So then this will add the amount that we bought. And then if you want, we can also print it out just to make sure that everything is running smoothly. Like that, and then print amount bot like that. And then after that, we also need to calculate how much it costs and what we need the sell price to be in order to make back a profit. So for I in range self.price bot, you can use self.price bot or amount bot here, it doesn't really matter, we just need the length. Then we just do total cost plus price bot that times the amount bot, like that. So this will give us the total cost of our entire round. So let's say for instance we place 4 buy orders, then this will calculate how much money that we spent for those 4 buy orders. And then after that's done, then we need to make sure that self.bot is added to 1. And then as a final print, just to make sure that everything is running smoothly, we can print so a function string, we can just print self.key. So this will give us the name of the bot, and we just say that it bought 1 order, like that. So this will be an example of the buy order function that you can implement. Before we create the sell order, we also need to create the sell price so that we know what price that we can sell at. So this will be up here, and this will just be the total cost of the entire round, multiplied by 1 plus self.profit over 100 to make that into percentage, divided by the sum of self.amount bot, like that. So then this will allow us to determine the exact price that Ethereum has to reach before we sell it. So then now we can move on to our sell order here, which again is just self. So for this, we can just create sell order, and once again client.order market sell, and the symbol once again will just be the symbol that we have, self.symbol. And then once again for quantity wise, it is a slightly complicated just because we have to round it to a specific decimal number, but this quantity should look like this. So it'll be very similar to the buy order. Just make sure we're doing all the calculations correctly. So once again, instead of just calculating the exact price, we can actually just sum up the amount that we have bought throughout all of our rounds and then sell all of those. So self.amount bought, once again quantize this to decimal 0.0001, and then once again make sure that we are rounding down as well, just to make sure nothing weird happens. So then after we have this, so this will actually place the order on the Binance exchange, and then we can just print let's just print the sum of the self.amount bot like that, just to make sure it's all working. And then once again, we need to calculate the total round cost for this, just so that we can add it to our total profit. So total round cost start at 0, and then for I in range, length, self price bot, total round cost, and then we can add self dot price bot I multiplied by self dot amount bot of I. So after we have that, then we can calculate the specific round profit, and you can print that out as well if you wish, but you don't have to. So for the specific round profit, then we can just round the number. New price multiplied by the sum of self dot amount bought, and then we can subtract the total cost of that to get the actual profit that we made. Okay, we do have to put in the new price as well, and then we can calculate round profit is this right here. So this will be the round profit, and then after that we can add the round profit to our total profit, so we know what the total profit of the bot is, and add that to like that. And we can also print both of these if we need, just so we know. Like that. There we go. And then so once again, that'll be the sell order and how we can implement that. And after this, we need to make sure that we reset all the parameters on the bot so that we're ready for the next round. So after we have all of this set, then we need to make sure that self.price bot is set back to 0 or nothing, and self.amount bot is also set back to nothing. And then we need to make sure that self.sell price here is none. And then we also need to make sure that self.bot is also none. And then we can also add a 1 to our transactions, like this, so that we know how many rounds the bot has gone through. And after this, everything should be completely reset. And then when it runs again, then it will go back to this main function right here, and it'll buy again, and it'll run through the entire process again. So this is just like a very simple way of how you can actually implement a martingale strategy in code. And now after we have all that done, we do need to make sure that we have a global way to declare these variables and call these classes. Alright, so we have our bot stick down here. So what we first need to do is that for key in bot dictionary dot keys, like this, we can just print out the key first just to make sure we have that bot running, and then we can create instance is equal to the mart bot, and then we can give it the parameters it needs. And once again, the parameters are right here, which is the key and variables. So this instance would be key, right? So we give it a key, and then we also need to give it the variables related to the key. So once again, we can call our bot dictionary once again, and then we can get the variables related to that key. And so that will create an instance of the trading bot class. And then after that, we also need to add it to the crypto bots in general. So key is equal to instance. So the name of the bot will be in this bots dictionary right here with its variables, and then it will also be in this crypto bots dictionary with the key as well as the instance or where the bot is running basically. So just to test this code real quick, I'm just going to quote these out for now. You can also create a client.test order if you wish to backtest your trading bot that way as well. But when we run this, it should print out all the prices once again. And this is really hard to see, so let me just go to quote that out. And then we're gonna also quote this print current price statement out. So what should happen is that this update prices will get the current price of all the assets, and then it will call instance.price check. So let's try running this code one more time. There you go. And you can see now that obviously the Martingale bought once right now from the order just because it didn't have any, and you can see this is the amount that it bought at, and also printed that it had bought. So this just means that our code is working, and if you keep running for it for a long time, it will actually implement the Martingale strategy, and you can keep track of that by just printing it out. You can also store all of its variables inside a separate database if you want to, but that's kind of a lot, and I won't go over that in this video. But yeah, so that's how you can implement the Martingale strategy in your own Python code. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe. Once again, all this code will be in the description below. So I will see y'all next time. Happy trading.